Welcome to Calgary Talks, the social series. I have a chance to talk to great Calgarians on a regular basis, and this series is welcoming you into all of those conversations. Really excited today to be here with Jay McNeil, who's the president of the Calgary Stampeders. Jay and I just did a big announcement a couple of weeks ago. Calgary's getting Grey Cup 2026.
Pretty
Very
awesome.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
It is pretty awesome. And so let's just start there. What do you think hosting Grey Cup means to Calgary's economy and just the general vibe in the city?
Yeah, no, it's such a special event. Canada's largest single-day sporting event. And so, tens of thousands of people will be coming to the city for the festival and then for the game. And so it's such an experience for all CFL fans, and really the impact to the city is, the economic impact. Specifically, when you look at 2019, it was in excess of 50 million in terms of economic impact to the city. When you look at restaurants, bars, experiences, fans are coming to, have a good time and really enjoy it. And so we're really excited about what we can do for the city.
Absolutely. And what do you think it does for us to profile Calgary on the national stage with an event like this?
Wow. We have such a special city, right? And so, when you think about it from just a broadcast perspective, it's the largest single-day broadcast event in Canada for sports. So over 3 million viewers, and you get to see, what's been happening throughout the week from a festival perspective, and then the game day setting at McMahon Stadium. And so really an opportunity to profile, the city across Canada.
Well, I remember 2019 and the amount of stuff that was going on along with the game itself. So talk to me a little bit about the types of collaborations and partnerships that you think are important in putting on a successful Grey Cup, because it's not just about the game.
No.
What else is involved?
Really, it's about that whole week-long celebration, the festival, and that really what makes it so special is, so many people coming to Calgary, but it becomes, so much more than just the Calgary Stampeders and the CFL. It's our partnership with the city. It's our partnership with the province. We're going to hold the entire festival down on Stampede Park, so it's, we have a partnership with Stampede as well. And then how do we highlight our great city and make it a special place where, CFL fans are going to be excited, but also how do we introduce, the CFL, the Calgary Stampeders, and then our city to new Canadians, to people who have never been exposed to it before. So it's a pretty cool opportunity.
Well, you and I have had this conversation before about what it means to get people who traditionally don't watch football, don't necessarily understand it. Tell me a bit more about how you've worked to make sure that folks like that feel that they would belong if they came to a game.
Absolutely. And one of the things I say every chance I can is McMahon Stadium is a place where everybody, all Calgarians or outside Calgary, can come and feel welcome. And it's a place that, we're entering into our 80th season in Calgary. So for 8 decades, we've been bringing Calgarians together. And so we want everybody to feel that this is a home, place that they can call home and feel comfortable. And so, as the demographics change in our city, some people moving to our city have never been exposed to football before, or never been exposed to the CFL or the Calgary Stampeders. And so how do we introduce that to them? It's a complicated game, and not everybody knows it. So we try to teach the game, and then we also try to have an impact in the community and connect, one-on-one with our players, with our staff, and how do we, bring the community together.
Well, and that community aspect is a really important one. I know that you and the players are very involved and very community-minded. So tell me a little bit about how you perceive the role of sport and a professional sports team being an asset to the city.
Yeah. It is, number one, when you think about the cultural impact of just, what having a professional football team, but any professional sports organization, it's an opportunity to bring people together. And you think our world, is more polarizing every day. And so when the community can come together and cheer together for the home team is a pretty cool opportunity. And you think about, the impact and the legacy of the '88 Olympics and how that's changed our city, and we're still feeling that impact today. And so that we can have that impact in the city. And then the thing I'm most proud of the Calgary Stampeders is our impact in the community. When you look at, in 2023, our players did 422 player appearances, 570 hours of community work. We worked with 55 charities, 24 amateur football programs, and we visited 60 schools. like, that is what I am most proud of our organization for, is that ability to connect with our community and to make our community a better place.
Well, and it's just great to see players out in community and hanging out with kids and welcoming newcomers,
yes,
frankly, and helping them feel like they're part of something bigger than just themselves. And so what do you think some of the benefits are of hosting a high-profile event like the Grey Cup, and just the fact that we have a professional sports team in our city? What are some of the longer-term benefits to Calgary?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things, when the commissioner called to say we were the successful bidders, I was incredibly happy and excited, but it also hit me, this is an opportunity to have an impact on our organization, but also our city, our province, and the game of football. And so it's so much bigger than that one-day event for the Calgary Stampeders. This is, how do we have a long-term impact in our community and on the game? And we think about it from just a legacy program where we've been working with the city to talk about how do we create a home of flag football in the eastern part of the city. And so, number one, we're introducing the game to new Canadians. We're having a dedicated space where young athletes can come and play for years to come. And so you think about that kind of legacy, but also the exposure I love the game of football. For the biggest reason is for what it teaches athletes about how to be successful in life. Hard work, perseverance, teamwork, leadership, passion, all those sorts of things. So if we can grow the game within the city, we can have an impact as we build leaders through the game of football. So pretty exciting and a little bit overwhelming too, because you want to do it right. Well,
and you do such a good job of instilling that sense of civic pride and that spirit of community. And, I wonder how you do that intentionally, because I don't think it's accidental. I don't think you just wait for people to show up and then hope for the best. What are you doing intentionally to make sure that you are drawing in more people, more kids?
Right. Yeah. Yes. Well, and that's it. When you look at it just purely from a fandom perspective, there's lots of research that goes that, in order to maximize fandom within an individual, you have to connect with them before they get to 14. And so, the Stampeders have always been very focused on how do we connect with a younger demographic with children. And so, we have different camps. So we have our Learn to Play football camps, we have our Junior Stampeder football camps, then we have our Junior Outrider, where, young kids can come and dance with the Outriders at one of our games. And then, we have our school programs where we're in the schools, we're playing basketball, we're teaching football, we're talking about, the benefits of staying in school, and we're reading in classrooms. And it's all about just connecting with kids. We love the game. We love, what this sports teaches kids. And so we want to be able to, help grow the game.
I think that's something that's important too, because your love of the game shows. And the players, it absolutely shows that they love football and they want to see more people get engaged with it. So do you think Calgary is different or unique when it comes to the CFL? Like, what is it about us that sets us apart?
We have such a great city, and I think, I am an example of this, is I had never been to Calgary prior to being drafted by the Stampeders. Came out here, played my first year and fell in love with the city. And, after my first year, I said, this is a place where I want to call home. And so, we have, I think, a larger contingent of alumni that, play their career here and then end up staying. And what's really awesome is, throughout their playing career, they're in the schools, they're at the community appearances, they're helping make our community better. But, they stay here and they continue that long after their careers are over and continue to have an impact in our community, for decades, which is pretty amazing. And I don't think, you get that same impact in other CFL cities. So I think that's one thing that separates it. We have such a great city and people want to stay here.
Yeah, people aren't rushing to leave here after they're done. So, you're a great example of that. We've got a lot of former players and just, staff members as well that have stuck around and really contributed to community. So I want to thank you for that. That means a lot to me. What do you think it is about the role of football and the economic success of our city and all of those things that blend together to really position Calgary as a city that you want to be part of. You just mentioned that you didn't want to leave after you were a player. Tell me a little bit about how you see our future and the way sport has a role to play.
Sure. And you think about, you know this better than anybody, we're the fastest growing city in North America. And, what draws people, to a city? And culture plays a big part of it. And sports is a big part of that culture. And so having a professional hockey team, a professional football team, now we have, a professional men's soccer team and basketball, now a women's professional soccer team. And it's not that we don't, in a sense, we compete against each other because, sometimes there are discretionary spending that, people can't necessarily afford more than one, but really we're stronger together. And the more we can have, that has that bigger impact in the community and makes people want to come here, right? I mean, we have so much going for us as a city, and that just takes us to a whole nother level.
Well, and just making sport accessible, making the Stampeders experience accessible to people who otherwise might not feel that they have a home in football. And you and I had a good conversation with Nikki Nash from Kids Up Front, and she talked about how sometimes it takes more than one attempt to engage with any kind of an experience for kids to really feel like they're a part of it. Have you felt that?
Yeah, for sure. On Labor Day at McMahon Stadium, it can be overwhelming. When you pull up, there are thousands of people in the parking lot. People are excited and they're rad. We got the jets flying over. If you're a little bit anxious about coming, that can be a big step. And Nikki's story of the one young child, who had to go 30 times before he was able to stay, and now works for Calgary Sports and Entertainment, is an unbelievable. It's such a cool story about how that, you can have a positive influence on somebody. And I think, at McMahon, we focus on how do we have those positive impacts and do it on a daily basis, which is pretty cool. And, I think of, we partner up with Grant Thornton to put take our players to the Alberta Children's Hospital before every game, and then we bring a family back to the game on game day, and they go into our locker room and meet our players. And, they would never be able to have that opportunity, in some pretty challenging circumstances for that family. So it's really great to see the smiles on their faces and to see the impact of that.
Absolutely, and I hope we're going to have some opportunities to do more of that welcoming for folks when we do Grey Cup.
Yes.
And when we do Grey Cup, what are some of the partnerships that you're looking at right now? Without giving away everything that you're planning, Tell us a little bit about the partners that you're interested in working with to make this the best event possible.
For sure. The foundation of our festival will be around music, and we've talked about that. So with the stand, you want to build on what the Stampede has, become in terms of a music festival. So we're really excited about working with them to deliver concert series every night of the festival. We're going to have a community stage outside of Stampede Park where we can have local artists come and play throughout the day, every day of the Stampede, giving them an opportunity to be a part of, Canada's biggest single-day sporting event. But then I think there's also an opportunity to connect with the arts, and how do we bring in so much more than just sports? You think about when we spoke with Alex Arian a couple days ago, and how do we get Arts Commons involved? How do we get the National Music Center involved and make this something so much more than just a sporting event? It's really about the celebration of Calgary and what we have from a cultural perspective.
That's great. And you know what? I think it's really important to recognize that folks like Tourism Calgary and all of the partners that you just mentioned, they get it.
Yes.
Nobody views this as being a time that we're only going to be focused on football. I mean, football is a big draw. The game is going to be amazing, but just allowing visitors to experience so many other things in our city, and frankly, having Calgarians come down to places that they don't always go to. And really just take everything in. Exactly.
Yeah, it's such an opportunity to have this just great experience. We talked about having, this be an experience-driven city. And so that's the way we're focusing on the Grey Cup is this is going to be an experience for everybody. And there's something for everybody to come and enjoy.
That's fantastic. So let me ask you one last question.
Okay.
What's your vision for the team? I mean, obviously, winning.
Yep.
Beyond that, what role do you think that you can help the Stampeders play in the future of our city?
We talked about the stats from, that our players do in the community. And, I will tell everybody who will listen, and I get this is a bold statement, but the Calgary Stampeders make Calgary a better city. And I'm extremely proud of what we do in the community and how we do it. It goes so much beyond, so much more than, the game day experience. Incredibly important, and ultimately winning. Our city loves to embrace winners, and we've done it for a long time. This past year hasn't been great, and we're going to get back to there, starting next year. But it's about how do we have a bigger impact in our community. And I think that's, when you think about the CFL and some of the challenges we have as a league, and, even the Stampeders, what we've been through in the last 10 years, we really do, that's what's going to sustain us for the long term, is how do we continue to have an incredible impact in our city. And, over the years, the team has done a great job of basically trying to do everything that's asked of us from a community perspective. And I don't, sometimes some of it's been intentional, some of it's just been, hey, we get asked to do this and we go and do it. And I'd like to be more intentional in how we do that, and so that we can have a bigger impact in the city.
That's fantastic. Well, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
We are lucky to have you in our city. We're lucky to have you as a big proponent for Calgary. And I can't wait to pull off a great event. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate the support. The Grey Cup doesn't happen without the City of Calgary support. So thank you very much.
We are all in for that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Of course.